So Justin and I have had the pleasure of working with some of these individuals, all these over here, and a few visitors we don't work with, but are welcome to stay and watch our podcast. So thanks for coming.
You can ask questions and everything. We don't.
Yeah, so
We'll answer anyone's question.
I have some pre-made questions if you guys get stuck, but I think you might have some questions to start asking these folks. Do you have anything you want to ask? Come on.
I got one. So, one thing I was like nervous of is like when getting a suggestion, like what happens if somebody suggests something, maybe it's kind of something broad, maybe something that you're not that familiar with. Like, how do you go about
Ask them
taking
what it
that
is.
suggestion? You know, if
If
you're
it's-
like, I don't really know what that is. You know?
Say that.
Yeah,
Ask them.
Yeah.
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 Okay. It's
Yeah.
okay to do that.
Absolutely.
You don't
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
amateurs.
No, we had.
If someone says a word I don't know,
Yeah, right.
I'll either like ask my teammates maybe, or I'll
Right.
just say like I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Once-
Okay.
Yeah, once like information or a word is like out there, you have to address it, right? So if the team doesn't know what the word is, chances are many people in the audience don't know either, and we should say what the definition is. Or something.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, whatever it is, you A to see that anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
It's a good question though,
yeah, that's it.
because I've guessed. Like I've gotten suggestions and thought I knew what it was, and I was wrong. And
That's
just,
the
like,
best though. When it happens.
It can be really funny, but if it's genuinely like I don't even have any clue what that could begin to be, like just ask for clarification. It's okay.
Right.
And we've talked a little bit about when something unexpected happens on stage, we lean into it because you would find funny from that. So it all depends on how you want to handle it. If you really want to know what the word is so you can make sense with it. But there has been times I've seen people that clearly don't know what the word is, but they do their best, and it's very enjoyable to watch.
Sure.
It can be. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
Cool.
can do
Yeah,
anything.
Ed?
Technical question, since there's no mechanical amplification,
Yes.
if I'm in the back row, there were a couple times when I just couldn't hear people.
Yep. Yep.
Is that ever addressed in rehearsal where someone says to you, talk up, speak louder, we can't hear you?
Yeah.
Or-
Projection is a constant challenge. All rooms have acoustical differences, and it's always hard. I'm a very loud person, so it's not as hard for me as it might be for somebody else. But it is. Yeah. To answer your question, yes, it is addressed.
Okay.
Is it always made better? Not necessarily. We try to make improvements where we can, like those curtains are to keep the sound from bouncing all the way back to the back of the room. We do what we can. But yeah, it's a thing that we are mindful of. That
Yeah.
we do try to speak from our diaphragms and such.
Project. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of your stage presence and making sure that everybody can really hear and be aware of what it is that you're saying.
And cornering out, so you're actually facing the audience when you're talking. So the sound isn't just bouncing back and back.
Right.
Did level 1 address that at all? Like being on stage, like the physicality of being on stage?
Facing the audience.
Yeah.
Corner, yeah.
Yeah.
But in terms of volume, we were perfect from the get-go.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Same. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question. It seems to be this sound issue. It seems to be more so when you want to have kind of a quiet, more private moment that you have to really project. Like that library scene, I thought that we saw, with the two of you working on the computer together, was really good because we were very quiet, but still you were very aware of it. So it just seems to be that the sort of rule of thumb should be in our heads that the scene is more of an intimate discussion between somebody, and the library is a setting that encourages that. But I mean, just some of the, I don't know, there was in the level 1s, 2 of the level 1s were getting a report, and the guy in the towel shirt was getting a report, and he was reading it. And the way he was, I don't even remember who it was, I think it was the last guy, and you were like getting a grade or something, but I mean, that was very quiet and intimate. And that's when that projection issue is an issue.
Yeah.
And I think, for us, this is sort of gleaming from this, is that when we get into scenes like that, we need to sort of also project.
Yeah, and reminder that we've been working in a very different space
Yes,
for
yes, we were
8
in this
weeks, and then you come up
this
here.
cozy little room
Yep.
that we're in upstairs.
Yeah. So,
Also, bringing,
I mean, it feels like,
yeah, and bringing stuff up stage too, because so many times, we'll all do what we're doing now. We're all against the back wall.
Try to get as far away from you as
As
possible.
opposed to playing to the front. So I think what helped with the library scene is we kind of push ourselves forward.
yes.
So if you're gonna, especially if you're gonna do an intimacy when you're quiet, obviously the closer you are to the audience, the better. So doing stuff towards the back wall. Luckily we have a small stage, but still trying to get yourself to the front is a good trick.
And
For a lot of reasons, everyone's gonna hear and see you.
the cow shirt kid.
What's your name?
That's how-
Elliot.
Elliot.
That's good though.
Elliot Boucher.
When Elliot was doing, Elliot and his partner in that team, they were reading that documented report, adjusted, and they moved up, I noticed. Which
Yeah,
was
that
the way. it
definitely
was-
wasn't intentional, but I guess, taking, thoughts post that scene, I guess, maybe projecting outwards, because I think I was talking more directly to you instead of
You
outwards.
were, and then you
Yeah.
moved up though.
Okay, yeah, not intentional.
Well played.
It's
Well
in
played.
Elliot.
You have stage
It's the
instincts.
instinct, you didn't even have to think
you
about
were
it, it just
off
happened.
Broadway.
So, I have a question for some level 1 folks. So they're about to go to their 5th class on Tuesday night.
Halfway done.
What do you feel would serve them at this point to get ready for the performance you guys had tonight? Because by the way, your performance tonight was excellent. So, what's a little thing, and maybe a real quick piece of advice from each of you for these guys?
Wipe early and a lot.
Yes.
Yes, I noticed that you guys were doing that too.
They were
The
We
quick,
were talking
right?
about that, where you're editing quickly.
If
Yep.
you feel nervous about wiping, do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wiping is that running?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then, we kept running into issues where our scenes were 4 hours long.
Right, right. Yeah.
We can't do this. But
What do you- Yeah,
You want to wipe at the top of the scene.
Yep.
Wipe at the what?
Tom.
At the top of the scene.
Right.
It's kind of like you're
Big
going up a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And then when you get that big, you don't want it to just kind of fizzle afterwards. You want to.
Yeah, they
bring it
are
back.
10 minutes into learning about edits.
Oh,
So we spent the last 10 minutes of the last class practicing it, so it's very new for those guys. So.
We're like little versions.
And,
Don't be afraid to edit. I'll say this to you. Editing is not, sometimes I think people think of it as a negative thing. It's a positive thing. It's a supportive thing. It's not saying this scene needs to end. It's saying this scene is over. That's all. It's done. It's completed. But it's not a bad thing. I think people see editing as like, oh, but maybe they had more to say. I don't want to cut them off. No, it's the best thing. We saw that was beautiful to watch the quick edits on.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah.
I was really
Because
impressed.
It moved. It was always good. It never dragged. None of you guys looked like you were fumbling up there. So editing is supportive, and always think of it that way.
Well, I liked what you guys were doing in the level 1 classes. One of them edited quickly, and then it was it picked up on a different part of it was like a marathon thing. It was I'm afraid of the cars or something. Then it was the next thing it edited was did you block off the road? It was okay, so it was still a continuation, but it was still edited. It tightened it all up. So it's I
Yeah,
like
that was kind of cool that that one continued, that marathon thing. We saw a couple of scenes from it.
Right.
Yeah, we did a lot of montages where we had very, very long scenes, and we don't know how to do that, essentially. So just to reiterate that, just cut it out quick. Because when you're up on stage floundering for 3 or 4 minutes, and you're not gonna get a laugh, or a big laugh too, even any laugh that you get, wipe for your team.
Yeah, what they did really well, and what we've been talking about in class, is that they're building their base reality, and then getting to the funny thing about that base reality real quick, and then as soon as it's out there and you get to laugh, they were great at editing, right? And that would be what we're looking to achieve for your showcase as well. So Justin and I couldn't have explained it any better than you watching it. So I'm so happy that it happened to be the night of this showcase.
Yeah, intentionally planned.
Did you have something, Noah?
Well, so just be confident. Sometimes I'll come out and I'll have a weird saying or say something wrong, and I'm like, oh, everyone knows that that is not how that sentence was supposed to be said. And so like roll with it, like that can be the funny thing, or people can just be confident in like your character and the words you say, even if it's not what you planned.
And on the edits, topic, with a full crowd, someone's gonna laugh, and I think tonight was, proof that the wipes become that much easier, because you hear a laugh or something, and that's,
Oh, yeah.
wait, as
Oh my
opposed
gosh,
to in
it's
class,
so much easier.
It's true. In
That-
class, there's like 10 people, and then,
In class, you're just waiting for your teacher to go, ha 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 ha.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, all right, that's the time.
Wow,
Yeah.
it's like bowlers on stage right now. Hold it. Whoa. Wow.
She's
Just
the best.
gotta wait for your teacher to say, ha, see ya. Yeah.
Yeah, Ed.
In our sort of humble 4 weeks, we've only had Ian put us together with one person and another person.
Yep.
Brand new exercises, but occasionally you had 3 and 4 people on stage interacting. What's your key to success? How are you doing that? It seems like it's overly complicated.
Listening.
Don't talk.
Yeah.
Don't.
Listening. Listening.
Examples.
Don't talk over people. Don't talk over people.
As I'm
Don't
talking
talk over
over
people.
someone.
Yeah.
So not that.
So now
Right,
talking over, just
Not
don't talk
that.
over people.
I feel like every single montage we did during practice, like during our class, we only did 2 people on stage, 2 people on stage, 2 people on stage, and then like the practice we did before our set, and then what we did our set, we had like 3 people scenes like over and over and over again, which was, I don't know, it was something we didn't do at all, like
Yeah.
really.
It happens a lot by accident.
Yeah, that's really what happened.
The people on stage are the people who got on stage,
Yeah.
and you've got to work with what you've got.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really, like Mike said, it comes down to listening and paying attention to the other people, whether you're directly interacting with them or not. You still have to know what they're doing and the way that they're behaving. And I had to see that Mindy was eating a sandwich, even though I wasn't talking to her. She was just kind of over there eating a burger. I had to know that.
Yeah, just like slowing down and checking in with what else is happening on stage.
Yeah.
And just slowly building from there.
So much happens in the silence. You gotta be comfortable with a little bit of silence in the scene to just let it rest, let the audience appreciate something. I mean, even like just little like facial movements and stuff is enough to like act as the voice of reason or that kind of like.
And it's okay to talk over each other. Like,
Oh, thank
in
God.
reality, I mean, it happens. If you're ever in a group setting, just on the street, people, someone starts to talk and someone else starts, so they stop. So, don't be afraid. If that happens on stage, it's just natural. So, just be willing to let the other person kind of get their line out, or, someone will draw back, but it's not a big deal, and you can stop and hold it in and restart your sentence afterwards, after what they said, if it's important or whatever. It's just, yeah. It's like real life. It's okay.
Can someone walk us through or at least me, through what the form of the herald is?
No.
You sign up for level 4 at improvpick.com.
We keep it a secret until then. No.
It's in a box downstairs.
Yeah.
The whole assembly process is very long.
It makes a lot more sense now already.
It's essentially 3 separate scenes, each with their own game, with their own relationship, their own theme. And then after we see those 3 scenes, we do a group game where everyone's on stage and we do some seconds. Bro. That's just a little, all right, everyone relax, we're all back together again. And then we revisit the themes of those first 3 scenes. So the second series of scenes, it can be the same narrative, we might see the same characters in the future. Or it can just be like weird work situations. Like we had kids that were 10 that had jobs, and then we had people that didn't follow the dress code or velour, whatever, it's just weird things. So the themes then go. And then we have another group game where this happens. And then officially on paper, you cap it off with 3 more scenes that, again, bring the thematic elements of those previous 6 up, all intermixed. So one scene might have elements of, I have nepotism, but I'm also in a pool, and I'm also dressed weird. So you might see callbacks to those things that you saw earlier in the show. And then it just shows you that the whole world is interconnected. It's kind of like if you watch one of those movies like Drive or Crash, where everybody's into a connected story. At the end of the movie, like, oh, they all knew each other, but they just didn't know they knew each other. That type of thing. But better than Crash.
Any other questions?
find is your most difficult moment or problem? What do you have the most trouble with?
For me, when there's nobody on stage and I feel like, all right, well, I gotta go out and do something, and then having no idea what that something is.
Anybody else?
Initiations,
Initiations.
What is that?
So initiations is starting off with some people and then
The
brings
first
the first
line.
piece of information.
First
the
line.
idea.
Having an idea, it's like,
Yeah.
well, I had nothing, but I'm on stage.
Yeah, and it may not be a line of, it can be a physicality, it can be, object work, but it's the starting of the scene.
So do most of you just throw yourself on stage, or do you go out with something like a kernel in your head?
It depends on the form that you're doing. So like with the Herald, we interviewed John, and we got a lot of source material, and then we kind of picked apart the funny bits, and it made it easier to initiate scenes, right? But if you don't have an opener, like level one, you just have like word and go, right? I actually think like word and go montage is harder because you have to start off a little slower and kind of figure out the who, what, where of where you are. Whereas if you have a little bit of source material from an opener, either a monologue or a scene paint or something, it's easy to kind of say a line of dialogue with a bunch of pieces missing, but your scene partner knows where you're coming from because you both paid attention to the same monologue and stuff. Does that make sense?
Let me add one thing to this, just because I need to brag on these guys. We did character work last week, and they're all naturals.
Yeah.
So character is another, we talked about that. If you just want to go out and you're going to be Southern, that's a world of information you're giving a potential scene partner.
So much can be informed by just the way you step on the stage, the way your body moves. Did I lead with my chest, or did I lead with the top of my head? Those are very different people, and they might speak differently, and they might, It's so important.
Yeah.
I have a really hard time with character, and I keep trying to remind myself of those things. Just like pay attention to the way my body moves, and don't just be me all the time. I'm pretty great, but be other people sometimes, and it'll be okay.
And, John, were you obligated when you were put in the chair there to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Did you
Yes.
clean up the whole thing?
Yeah, no, it's true, yeah. It's always better if you do monologues, or if you're being interviewed like that, the best thing to do is just be honest.
Yeah.
The truth
Trying to
is
make up
always
stuff,
easier.
I mean, this,
That's exactly what they did.
That
Yeah,
line was the line.
So, two more questions, I gotta let these guys go, so let me go, you haven't asked one yet, so go ahead.
Yeah.
Now, this flew out of my head. Oh, so with the wiping, do you ever, like, you're on stage and you're like, oh my God, I have this great next idea, and you see someone on the side, like they're about to wipe the scene, and you're like, is there some way that you communicate that? Like, no, don't do it.
I mean, that's the beauty of
Bringing it back.
getting to the point.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to do what you're gonna do up top, but there is also, I mean, we kind of don't have that luxury as much in the Herald. But generally speaking, in a montage or whatever, you can always bring it back. That's why you want to write quickly. Give them room to bring those characters or those things back later. But yeah, I've never seen it. I'm sure somebody's done it, has like rejected a wife. Like, no, I haven't failed. But
I'm not done yet.
Ed, go ahead.
From my very limited experience, when people were calling out from the sides, porn, or money, I felt like that's not fair. They're cheating. But is that standard?
Oh, that's standard.
No, it's side
Side
support. Side
Remember,
support.
remember how Justin said when you're on the sidelines, you're ready to go?
Yeah.
Just because you're not on stage doesn't mean you're not invested on what's happening on stage. So if there's something, if you can create an environment, or sometimes you'll see people struggle and realize, oh, they don't know what's going on, but I have a great idea. A choice you always have is to endow them from the stage, to say, and that's what was happening. They were gifting them, and it takes the heavy lifting off because you know what it feels like when you're in front of the class and it's your time on. Sometimes that mind goes blank, and you need a little bit of help. This is a team sport, So,
Porn one was great.
yeah, right.
Sound effects are a beautiful gift. Like you can put somebody on a subway, you can put somebody in the jungle, you can put somebody wherever you want just by making noise on the sidelines.
Yeah, you could have a 5-minute living room scene, and then from the sidelines, you be like, IKEA will be closing in 10 minutes.
Right,
Right.
exactly, exactly. Or earlier in ours, when you adjusted the music on the wall, but like we didn't have no one like
music.
So, but like that's like a mistaken improv because like side support, like someone should have like started singing, you know, or making
No.
music, but instead, we still had to
Love
address
the
it,
support.
right? Because now everyone else is like, oh, there's no music playing. I want the music playing, and you have to keep going. Sure.
But that turned into a beautiful thing.
Exactly.
And it ended the scene on a great way that wasn't in the intention. It was Katie saying, where's the music? And then Rachel endowing. Was it Rachel? Who
Yeah,
were
the headphones.
The headphones.
Or,
I can't
Mike.
remember.
Mike.
Oh, sorry, Mike.
Sorry, it's okay.
Sorry, Mike. Sorry. Yeah, but anyways. All right.
Awesome
You got it.
questions, you guys.
Thank you.